Hi, I'm the Guitar Trooper, YouTube's favorite old guy. It's Wednesday, April 1st, 1964, at the studio offices of Motown Record Corporation in Detroit, Michigan, located in a former residential home emblazoned with large script over the porch reading Hitsville USA. Songwriter Lamont Dozier, on staff for Motown, sits shocked and speechless. The demo of the song that he just finished that week, a backing track that he already had recorded by the studio band known as the Funk Brothers, had just been rejected by the very group for which it was written. He had even gone out of his way to have the backing track recorded in the key of C, the best key for the lead singer of the group. The words of that lead singer, Gladys Horton of the Marvelettes, still rang in his ears.
And they thought it was a piece of crap, And Gladys Horton said, no, baby, we don't do stuff like that.
Aside from the abject rejection and flippant comment, this is a bigger problem than it may appear. You see, at Motown Records, a strict business environment run by entrepreneur Berry Gordy Jr., if a writer commits a song to become a recorded backing track and then doesn't get a Motown act to sing it, then the writer must pay all studio costs. Lamont Dozier is determined not to pay for this recording. His next actions and the decisions surrounding them will find that rejected song changing the fortunes of a struggling vocal group, one that, after being signed to Motown as teenagers in 1961, changing their group name and releasing 8 singles, none of them being a hit, were to become internationally acclaimed musical icons of the 1960s, a success that seemed, for their audience, to have occurred overnight. But it was anything but overnight success for them. It's January 1961. The teenage girl vocal group known as the Primettes, sister group of the male group, the Primes, had auditioned for Berry Gordy in 1960, and even though he refused to sign them at that point to a record contract, citing their youth and inexperience, he had been allowing the young girl group to hang around the studio, basically to supply hand claps on recordings. But he finally gives in and decides to sign the girls with a condition that they change their group's name. With that, the Primettes, Florence Ballard, Mary Wilson, Diana Ross, and Barbara Martin, become the Supremes and are signed with Motown Records for a recording contract. After release of the first album, Meet the Supremes, in 1962, Barbara Martin exits the group, leaving Ross, Wilson, and Ballard behind. The Supremes, now a trio, continued to release singles through early 1964, but it's not an auspicious beginning for a new recording career. In fact, it's rather dismal. Their early recordings are met with market rejection, so much so that only one song breaks the top 40, and the rest either barely make the top 100 or not even chart at all. It is now April 1964. The aforementioned Lamont Dozier is stuck with a backing track and no artist after his new song is rejected by Gladys Horton of the Marvelettes. He is now desperate to find an artist to record it. If he doesn't find one, he will be forced to pay production costs for the backing track. He scans the Motown artist roster and finds no prospects until he gets to the bottom. The last entry is a young group that Berry Gordy signed in 1961 after changing their name from the Primettes to the Supremes. He knew them well. Oh, great, he thinks. The no-hit Supremes. He sees it as the longest of long shots, but he has to find someone at Motown to record the song. He also knows that they are desperate now to produce a hit record, and that Berry Gordy himself is pushing the girls to make that happen. Lamont catches Mary Wilson walking into the offices the next day and hails her.
Mary, come on, I got this song especially written for you all. I had to do the song. Well, somebody, or else I'll get charged for the production.
It turns out that Gladys Horton has already tipped them off that Lamont is going to pitch the rejected song to anyone he can find, and Mary is ready for him.
And refused. She said, "Is that the song that Glass refused to do?" I said, No, you got it all wrong. I especially wrote this song for you all in the first place. She didn't get it. I was doing them a favor, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what lie I told,
The group initially balks at the song. Lamont, however, does not give up. He knows that he has the edge because of their no-hit status and asks for backup from his fellow writers Brian and Eddie Holland. Together, they finally persuade the Supremes to make the recording. Purchased by Berry Gordy Jr. in 1959, Hitsville USA is in fact originally a residential home, at one time converted to a photography studio, and then converted by Gordy to the production offices and studio for Tamla and Motown Records, with him and his wife in residence on the upper floor. In contrast to many elegant professional studios, Studio A at Hitsville USA, located in the basement of the original corporate house, is a cramped and equipment-cluttered affair, somewhat affectionately known as the Snake Pit, due to the jungle of cables dangling from the ceiling. However, in spite of its makeshift origins and tight dimensions, the studio is not reliant upon second-tier equipment. A Steinway grand piano occupies a sizable portion of the floor space. The vocal microphones are German-made Neumann U67s, known for their buttery smooth response. And the recorder to be used for this song, while having only 3 tracks, is an Ampex 300 series. Both the mics and the recorder are considered to be industry standards. The recording routine is the same for every song recorded at Hitsville. Track 1 carries the rhythm instruments, bass guitar, drums, piano, and rhythm guitar. Track 2 carries additional horn and string tracks, as well as the vibraphone when needed, all of these collectively referred to as sweeteners. And Track 3 is left open for vocals. The foot stomps heard on this recording and all Motown songs of that period are done using an admittedly low-tech process. Up to 3 mics were suspended over a sheet of plywood to capture the raw audio of foot stomping, and then reverberation was added. Although electronic echo and reverberation devices are available in the early 1960s, echo chambers, or more accurately reverberation chambers, are still a part of many studios. The echo chamber for the Hitsville studio is in the attic, which is drywalled and shellacked in order to create multiple hard surfaces that faithfully reflect sound, creating a natural reverberation effect. A permanently wired monitor speaker is against one wall, and microphones are positioned in the space to pick up reflected sound. Any combination of source tracks can be sent to the speaker from the basement control console to be picked up by the microphone as a reverberated signal, and then remixed to the master. Wednesday, April 8, 1964, Hitsville, USA, Studio A, 9 a.m. The Supremes are in a vocal recording session. The morning is not off to a good start. In spite of their earlier agreement to record Lamont's song, the Supremes are not happy with their decision, but Berry Gordy himself has insisted that they record it. The session proceeds, albeit with constant contempt from the trio. Tempers begin to flare. Lamont presents his background vocal arrangements to Mary and Flo. Mary says it sounds like a nursery rhyme, and they refuse to sing it. After extended arguments, Lamont finally relents and tells them to just sing Baby Baby instead. Diana, specifically picked by Berry Gordy to sing the lead, says it's in the wrong key for her. Diana sings most comfortably in the key of D or even higher E flat. The backing track for this song, the one originally intended for Gladys Horton of the Marvelettes, was recorded in C, one full step lower than D. The girls reluctantly record a take of Where Did Our Love Go? Diana is morose, and her usual lilting voice is much more breathy than usual. Mary and Florence are bored with the repetitive background vocals. In a word, they hate it. Lamont reminds them that they have a commitment to the song already, and they have yet to see a hit record. Diana and Lamont begin trading obscenities. Finally, Diana storms out to Berry Gordy's office, by that date located in an adjoining house, declaring that Lamont had made an offensive remark about him. Berry descends to the studio with Diana in tow to see what is going on. While there, he listens to hear the playback, and his eyebrows lift. Hey, that's really good. I don't know if it's a #1 hit, but it's a top 10. Where Did Our Love Go, released on June 17, 1964, not only became a #1 hit for the Supremes, making the mark on August 16th and remaining #1 for 2 weeks, it was the first of 12 Billboard Hot 100 #1 hits. The Supremes still hold the Billboard title of the most successful American group of all time. By the way, the initial audition with Berry Gordy was arranged by teenager Diana Ross's neighbor, William "Smokey" Robinson, who already had a recording contract with them as a member of the Miracles. Diana Ross and Berry Gordy will quickly become much more than business colleagues, but will never marry, and she will birth his daughter, Rhonda Ross Kendrick, on August 14, 1971. In 1964, as fate would have it, in June, when Where Did Our Love Go was released, the Supremes were on tour with Dick Clark's Caravan of Stars, relegated to the last slot in the show by Dick Clark's people, and even then solely because Motown insisted that the Supremes be included on the tour roster as a condition of the tour booking established artist Brenda Holloway. In other words, if they wanted Brenda, they had to take the Supremes as well. At the beginning of the tour, the crowd reaction to the Supremes could only be classified as polite reluctance, if not obvious indifference to their performance. Later in the tour, as the record rose in the charts, the applause started to get louder, and then became peppered with cheers and excited screams, and from that point forward, when Where Did Our Love Go began playing, it was met with an increasingly intense audience reaction and was a harbinger of their future. Overnight success? From one perspective, yeah. But for the no-hit Supremes, it was, at a minimum, a 3-year road. Hey, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Particularly, thanks for watching this long. A lot of people don't, you know. If you like it, please click on that thumbs up button for me, will you? And leave a comment. Let me know what you think. You can also use a comment to suggest video content regarding pop music subjects between the 1950s and the 1970s. This would also be a great time to subscribe to the channel if you're not yet a subscriber. It's free, and all you have to do is click on the subscribe button, and when the drop-down menu pops up, just use the top bell icon so that you'll be notified whenever new content becomes available for the public. Speaking of that, if you would like to see this kind of content a few days earlier than the public, you can upgrade your subscription to be a channel member and become a Trooper Fellow. If you do this, then you'll have exclusive access to new videos days before they are available to the public. Thanks again for watching.